Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're going to be back to some RC stuff, and today I'm going to take a look at this real goofy looking TEMU drone that I picked up. Now the unique thing about this drone is it has a built-in FPV screen on the controller. I think moving forward, and actually we saw them last year, but I think in 2025 it's going to become very popular. We see these built-in FPV screens on the controllers. So that means you don't have to use an app or a smartphone to actually fly the drone, which is a nice convenience. It frees up your phone and reduces the weight of the controller. So let's take a look at the actual drone now. It's called the K15 MAX SCREEN, of course, just because it's got the screen. It has optical flow position hold, which I'll show you in a minute, and it has silly obstacle avoidance, which we're not going to test out. I'll explain why in a minute, why we're not even going to be bothered with that. So let me grab the drone now. I'll try to look down here with my head cam. You can see it in the carrying case here. It comes in this plastic case, so not bad, but it's carried around like a little briefcase. Let's pull the drone out here, and then we'll look at the screen here in a minute as well. Now, this is just a white and red. They have a, as you saw, a yellow and black, or black and yellow version as well. It does have a little motorized camera, but it's just a pinhole camera, and it is really, really poor quality, I can tell you right now. It does record 720p at 30 FPS. But it is really, really poor quality. Pictures are just going to be screen grabs from the video. And there's no SD card on here, but there is one I'll show you built in the controller because, you know, when you're recording to an app, you're streaming to your phone recording. But if you're not going to use the app or your phone, then you need a way to record it. And since there's not a place to record it on the drone, no slot for an SD card, they give you one on the controller that lets you record the video feed or photos. Now on the bottom, we've got an optical flow camera on the right side. The left's just a fake, it's not a real camera. So that's gonna look at the ground and try to help hold position. We'll try to test that out. And here's your obstacle avoidance. Now, this is gonna be junk. The problem is you've got, it looks like it even has one on top. It's got infrared sensors and it emits infrared light. And that's gonna reflect off surfaces and then tell the drone to stop. The problem with that is, sunny day like today, the sun's emitting infrared light as well. It gets confused, or it blocks out the light. So it doesn't want, these drones will almost never work unless you fly it indoors. So, and this drone's a little bit big to fly indoors. They just don't work well. Plus, they have to fly with about that much pitch. So little pitch so that it can catch the reflection that the drone just barely moves. Now today's a very calm day, so you could probably get by with it. But if there's any wind at all, the drone would start to blow away, and if you don't get out of that mode, you're not going to be able to get the drone back to you. So it's just junk. I wish they would not even include that. This might be able to be removed. I kind of pulled on it, but I don't want to rip it or tear it. But I bet it probably does pull off. Here's your Wi-Fi antenna if you to connect to your phone. And it has these motor pods, which are pretty cool, lit up. I believe they're blue and red. I'll show you guys once we fire up the drone. Let's take a look at the accessories bag. You get a micro SD card reader here so that you can read the footage that is recorded if you're using the micro SD card on the controller. Some spare props and charging cables for the drone battery and for the controller because it's also rechargeable. The battery for this is a 1S LiPo. It's 1800 milliamp hour, and they use that. Those USB cables are USB-C. Now the app you'd use for this, if you don't use if you decide you want to use your phone, you can put your phone on and switch between the screen and the drone and your phone. But the thing is you can turn the screen on and off on the controller here. But if you leave the controller screen on and you use your phone, I suspect they're going to be out of sync because one's going to process the video a little bit quicker than the other. So that probably wouldn't be ideal. But the app you're going to use here is the KYUFO app. That's a very, very common app that's used on these toy drones. So they do give you a cheat sheet on here. And again, this is rechargeable. It's right here's the USB-C. Here's where the micro SD card slot goes. And it comes with one in it. I've taken it out. It's only a 240 megabyte card. So you're going to fill it up super quick. I put like an 8 gig card in there and it works just fine. So you can see your phone clip holders here if you decide to use the phone. This lets you turn the screen on and off to use the built-in screen, which we're going to test today. This is your obstacle avoidance mode if you want to go into that, up here in the upper left. And right below it says light press for head, for no head. long press back. I think this may be like 1 key return in maybe headless mode. This is going to let us do the camera tilt up and down. The upper bumpers, this is your speed rates here, and the other one on the other side is going to be for doing 3D flips. This is some of your trim, I believe, over here. And this one right here is short press to play, long press to the main interface. So it's just some interface button, I believe. Over here on the left is short press for photo, and then the next one below it's a short press to record video, and this turns your screen on and off. Your power button here, this is your auto takeoff and landing, and this one right here is your reset. I think it's your gyro calibration. So it's got quite a few options on it. So let me go ahead and fire up the drone and start recording some video, and we'll just take it up here and fly it around in my house. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I got the drone connected. You can see there's some blue lights even shining through here. There's a blue light that shines in the top of the drone. You got a blue in the front, and we have red in the rear. Now, those aren't going to show up much during the daytime. Now, I typically wear sunglasses when I fly, and it's really hard to see this FPV screen with my sunglasses on. But with them off, I can actually see it decently well, better than I actually expected. It shows the SD cards in. It shows the battery power. I believe that's for the controller being a little over half. And then photo video buttons on it. So yeah, that's one thing I'd be concerned about on a bright day like today. You're going to have some difficulty seeing that screen, especially if you wear sunglasses. I'm gonna pop my sunglasses on just because I have such a hard time with the glare, because I'm not gonna worry too much about the screen, though I am going to make sure we start recording video. Let's press that, and now I get a record flashed up on the screen, so we know we're good to go. Let me pop my sunglasses on. You can just give it throttle. Let's go ahead and give it the auto takeoff and see what that, actually let's try to do the gyro calibration. I can see the blue light flash, so we're calibrated. Let's just see if we can do an auto takeoff. From what I've seen, this drone, I mean, I did do a little test in the basement. It flies really nice. Now it is kind of going backwards. Let me give it some forward trim. Now it has that optical flow, and it should be using that mode, I believe. Let's see if I bring it down. Does it follow my hand? It looked like it kind of did. Let's see if it follows my hand. Yes, it is. See that? It's following my hand. It flies super nice, even on that 1S LiPo. Now let's see what rates we have. Okay, so this was the lowest rate we were in. Now we're in the higher rate, much sportier. And now 3 is the highest rate. I like that. Now keep in mind, this video is garbage. It records in AVI format, which is an old format that, you know, I'll probably have to convert to even get it into my editor because it's just not used anymore. So it's not a very good format. But keep in mind, this is just, you know, not really meant for camera. I wish they wouldn't even include it. Let's try, and again, it's really hard for me to see with my sunglasses on. I wanted to take it up here and tilt the camera. Let's see if it'll hold position. They pop off my glasses so I can see. And let's just try tilting the camera. There we go. Herky-jerky movement as we expect. Oh, I was doing the trim. I usually like to keep these drones, and you can see there, tilt the camera up as much as possible so when they fly forward with the pitch of the drone itself, that you're not filming the ground the entire time. So let me get my sunglasses back on here. So let's try some 360 flips now. So let's just take it up here and let's see if we can do some flips. And I expected it would flip well because it's brushless. Yeah, it's a little bit sloppy, and some of that is because of that stupid obstacle avoidance module on top. Makes the drone, it's not balanced well. So again, maybe after I finish with this review, I'll see if I can rip that off. I just didn't want to mess up the drone and tear something off of it. But usually those are removable. Again, we're not gonna test the obstacle avoidance because, you know, if you fly up here in this bright light, it's not gonna work. You get into shade and it might. It also depends on the type of surface. If you're up against a really reflective, like white vinyl fence or something, all the glare is gonna confuse the sensor. They just don't work well. They're terrible. They're a gimmick, and that's just something that they do, and I don't like it. But this controller, I mean, even though it's sort of cheap construction, it's not bad. Gotta figure out here which way I'm facing. Yeah, everything's fine with it. We'll just put it down and recalibrate it. It doesn't hold position great. And what was happening there is I was continuing just to hold position, but with the sunglasses on, I can't see the screen to see which way I was facing. So I needed to really throw my sunglasses off. I didn't want to break them. But if you're able to see the screen, I would have been able to see which way I was facing, and I'd be able to turn the drone around, and we'd be able to figure out our orientation there. But again, the glare just really hurts my eyes, so I need to fly with sunglasses. So let's just put it down here. We should still be recording video. Let's just confirm that we are, and we are. Let's just go ahead and stop recording video. Let's see, did it stop? It did. Let's go ahead and just start some video again, just so we have some saved. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do, anytime you have a crash, just do your calibration again. And like I said, we do our starting video, okay? Let's just manually take off now. If you just give us some throttle. Let's see, are we going to be able to? Let's try auto takeoff. There we go. It should have. Before I was able to just give it throttle and it took off, but auto takeoff worked. There is a breeze now at times from left to right. That's why you're seeing the drone drift to the side. Again, optical flow works, but it's not the greatest. It's kind of working now. It's settling down. It just doesn't react to the wind quick enough. Good thing is, as soon as that drone bumped into their house, it immediately cut its motors, powered itself off, and everything's fine. The drone didn't fall from high up. It's totally fine. I don't even see any prop damage. You know, usually you might get some prop scuff, but it's fine. Again, typically if I'm flying that with the FPV screen, I don't look at the screen much when I'm doing a review. You'd be able to take a glance at it, figure out your orientation, and prevent that from happening. But I just can't see the screen with my sunglasses on. But with the sunglasses off, I was surprised that the screen was bright enough. If I take these off right now, I absolutely can see which way I'm facing. I would have absolutely been able to correct the drone over there. Because the way this drone is kind of designed, this goofy design, it just is not easy to tell which way you're facing, especially in the day. I can't see the blue lights and the red lights from far enough away to be able to determine if I'm looking at the rear or the front from over there. What speed rate are we in? We were in the highest rate, that's what I thought. Well, if you don't need to be today because it's not real windy, I think the second rate would probably be ideal for most people. First rate's probably still gonna be a little too slow. You can see a little bit of smoke off there in the west where we got someone burning something. But this is I think it's March 10th or 11th today. And it's a very warm and very beautiful early spring day. This has seemed to be getting a pretty good flight time with this 1800 milliamp battery. You know, we're still going along. I don't know what our time is here. You lose track of time when you're flying these drones and doing a review. Let's see what happens here if we just do an auto landing. How well is it auto landing? Here we go, it's coming down. I'm correcting it a little bit. Now that's a problem with this. I did test this in my basement. As you probably saw, it did kind of fall over because it doesn't really have a true landing gear. It just uses a body to land. So let's go ahead and see if I give it throttle, will it take off? There, you just give it up once to start the motors, up again to take off. Yeah, overall, I would definitely recommend this because it was like $48 on TEMU. So it is not expensive for what you get. I'm sure this drone is sold on Aliexpress as well. Most of the time, all these are sold on those two sites. It may also be on like Banggood or something, but you're probably not going to find this on Amazon yet. So I'll include a purchase link to this drone to TEMU and Aliexpress as well if I find it there, and you have your choice of where to shop for that if you're interested. Lots of times, oddly enough, Aliexpress ends up being cheaper than TEMU. Sometimes will have more listings, maybe a little bit more competition. But TEMU here in the U.S., you typically get the item a little sooner. And we got some flashing lights here, no audible warning. That tells us we are at low voltage cutoff. And a good way to test that is if it won't do a 360 flip, and it won't, because they always disable that because the LiPo doesn't have the punch to actually be able to do a flip. Let's just go ahead and manually land it. I'm gonna ease it down, and you can see it always falls over. Let's go ahead and stop recording video. I'm gonna make sure it stopped, and it did. All right, guys, that wraps up the review here of this goofy TEMU drone, which I can't remember, the K15 MAX. It says it right on the top. Again, if you're wondering why didn't you test the obstacle one, well, it's because it's not gonna work. I've reviewed enough of these that I can tell you they don't ever work in the daytime like this. They're junk, and it's something you don't buy one of these drones because you want obstacle avoidance. It's a gimmick, and it's not gonna do anything because it's not like a DJI obstacle avoidance. It's using infrared light, and it's just terrible. All right, guys, if you're new to the channel, you like stuff like this, whether it's RC drones, RC boats, tech, and occasionally stuff for real cars, then please stay tuned to the channel. Please consider subscribing. While you're at it, click that bell, which will be notified every time I do upload new videos. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.